So we'll go through these. So I simulated a season from 2008, and I made schedules based off of the 07 records. So 2008 was the year Florida won the national championship with Tim Tebow, and they did really well. They finished perfect on the regular season, and this is what the playoff would have looked like for the Southern region. It had Florida, who went 11-0, and Oklahoma, who went 10-1. Those are two schools that competed in the national title that year. And then Ole Miss went 10-1, so that'd be third. And then Clemson went 6-5, and they won their division. And then the two wild card teams would have been Georgia, who went 10-1, and Alabama, who went 9-2. And then, so the wild card round had Alabama playing Ole Miss, their 6th seed versus 3 seed. So Ole Miss would have hosted a home playoff game. They got beat. Clemson would have hosted Georgia for a playoff game, and they lost. So Georgia and Alabama advanced, and Alabama went to Florida and lost, and Georgia went to Oklahoma and won. So then Georgia and Florida would have competed in the championship game. And this is what I was talking about with the region championship week. You could have 4 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and have 3 triple headers on the earlier days, and then have the championship game on Saturday. And I think that would be a great experience for fans, and it'd be the weekend before Christmas. It'd be a good time to have sports on and just have some primetime games at night and spread those out over the course of the week, and put the games where the teams that are not that great, they play it while everybody's working. So kind of like some of the basketball tournaments. Then, this is for the North and Nebraska. They went 5-7 the previous season. They placed first. They went 10-1. Notre Dame went 3-9 the previous year. I think both of those schools had pretty good seasons in 08. But Notre Dame went 10-1, Penn State 9-2, Wisconsin went 9-2. They all won their divisions. And then Cincinnati 7-4, Pitt 7-4. So those are 2 wild card teams. So this is what their playoff looked like. It was Wisconsin hosting a playoff game against Cincinnati, and Penn State hosting a playoff game against Pitt. And Wisconsin and Penn State advanced. And then Nebraska and Notre Dame hosted playoff games. Nebraska hosted Wisconsin and won. And then Notre Dame hosted Penn State and lost. So then this is what their championship week would have looked like. So Penn State playing Nebraska in the championship. Figure you need to have all of these games somewhere that's an enclosed field with an artificial turf that you can have multiple games played on it and not tear it up over the course of the week. Then, this was the West. So Texas Tech, Boise State, Cal, Arizona all won their divisions, and USC, they went 11-2 the previous season, so they played a pretty tough schedule. They still made the playoff, going 8-3, and Oregon made the playoff. Cal hosted Oregon, and Arizona hosted USC, and both of the wild card teams won. Texas Tech hosted Oregon for a playoff game and won, and then Boise State hosted USC and lost. Then here's what their championship looked like. So the teams that lose in the second round, both the teams that lost in the second round, I have them playing each other in a primetime slot for Friday night game. And then like the Thursday night game would be the teams that lost in the wild card, and then the rest of the teams are the ones who, they're all next to each other in the standings, competing for better bowl games. So, and then here's the East. Rutgers, Houston went 9-2, West Virginia 7-4, and also North Carolina, NC State, Wake Forest. So West Virginia hosted a playoff game against Wake Forest. North Carolina hosted a playoff game against NC State, and so West Virginia and NC State advanced it. Houston and Rutgers host playoff games, and they won their games, so they would advance to the championship. And Houston beat Rutgers, and so the champions are advancing to the national semifinal. So here's what that looked like. So you have Florida won the South, Penn State won the North, USC won the West, and Houston won the East. Florida won the most games, and then Houston down at the bottom. So USC and Penn State will be one of the semifinal games, and then Houston and Florida. And Florida, Penn State won, and then Penn State beat Florida in the national title game. I think it was like 10 points. Yeah, so that's what a postseason would look like. I think it'd be really exciting. And, oh, forgot. So I think for a good tiebreaker, if the schools have the same record, since their schedules are based off of how good they did the previous season, you know, whoever had the better record in the previous season would have, in theory, played a harder schedule this year. So I think like you would just go with the team that did better in the previous season as a tiebreaker, unless they have a head-to-head.